time about the girl who was absolutely obsessed with me in high school. So it was my junior year in high school, and I'm just gonna tell you guys the first story of how I knew that she was absolutely obsessed with me and wanted to be me. Well, I had been dating this guy for like a month, and I sent him nudes. Well, my nudes got spread around the school, and everybody knew they were mine until this one girl, and we're gonna call her Addie, started saying that they were hers. I guess one of my friends was talking about it in class and they were like, OMG, did you hear that her nudes got leaked? AKA mine. And Addie was sitting at the same table and she said, no, those are my nudes. And at first I thought this girl was just trying to be nice. I was like, oh, well, that's nice of her, you know. Like maybe she's just trying to say that so that way nobody will bully me, I guess. Well, the one day I texted her about it. And I was like, hey, like, you don't have to do that. It's fine. I'll take responsibility for it. I did it. And she was like, what are you talking about? Those are my nudes. Like for part 2. Part 2 about the girl who was obsessed with me. So like I said, she basically told me that those were her nudes, even though I took the pictures and I knew they were mine. But I was like, okay, whatever. I'm not going to argue with her. Well, then I get a text from my boyfriend. And he goes, what the fuck? You're so weird. Why would you send me somebody else's nudes? And I'm just sitting there like, what the fuck? And I tried to explain to him that I had no fucking clue why this girl was saying they were hers. But then he said that I was weird as fuck and he broke up with me. So like a week later, I see them walking around school together. And my friends tell me that they're now dating. And I really wasn't that mad about it. I was like, okay, maybe that's the only way that she could think of to get a boyfriend. Well, I forgot that my Instagram was logged in on his phone because he had super bad trust issues and wanted to make sure I wasn't cheating on him. So I text him and I'm like, hey, can you take my Instagram off your phone? And I saw that he read my text message, but I got no response. Well, a week later, you guys are never gonna guess what fucking happened, like for part 3. Part 3 about the girl who was obsessed with me. So like I said, I texted him and I got no response back. So I run into him the next day at school. And I'm like, hey, did you get my text? And he's like, text about what? And I was like, taking my Instagram off your phone? And he was like, oh yeah, Addie did it, don't worry. And I didn't think anything of it because, you know, I'm like, oh well, she's done torturing me. Well, I was very wrong. So in my first period, I went to go sit with my group of friends because all 3 of us had that class together. And when I walk in, I realize that Addie is sitting in my seat. So I pull up a chair to the table and they were all ignoring me and texting each other right next to me. So I was like, okay, what's wrong? And one of my friends goes, oh, nothing, just the fact that you DM'd Gigi and I's boyfriends, saying that we were whores and that they should date you. By the way, Gigi was my other friend. And after that, this bitch Addie has the nerve to make the comment, that's really fucked up. Why would you do that? So then I beat her ass and lost all
my boyfriend showed up to my house randomly one day. I had just woken up and I got ready so fast in my room. Mom told him that he could wait in the living room. She ended up jumping in the shower. I went outside to the living room and we ended up going to his house. And I was there. My mom called me. She said that there was $350 on the table and that one $50 bill was missing. I couldn't believe what I was hearing, but I had to find out the truth. So I told him to take me to Jack in the Box. We went through the drive-thru. I was so mad, but I had to keep it together. I knew that he only paid with 20s. He never paid with 50s. I ordered my food and I was waiting to see what bill he pulled out. And guess what, guys? It was a $50 bill. Then I looked at him and told him, don't pay with my mom's money. I grabbed my purse, pulled out a 20 and told him, pay with my money. His eyes just popped open. He knew he got caught.
So it's Friday night. My man tells me he's going to go out with the boys for a little while. So, of course, a couple hours later, I check his location on the OnStar, which, by the way, he knows absolutely nothing about. And he's at this particular address that's unfamiliar to me. And I'm like, you know what? The last few times he's gone out, he's been going to this address. And I'm now really curious. I want to know who the fuck lives there. I'm like, I need to stalk his ass. So I'm thinking about it. And I'm like, I got to call my sister to come over here. She'll watch the kids while they're sleeping. I'll take her car, go to this apartment, look through the window and see what's going on. And imagine I look through the window and he's sitting there with some fucking bitch having drinks on the couch, laughing, joking, having fun. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I need to kick the door down and beat both their asses. And then I'm like, you know what? Maybe you're overreacting a little bit. Let's take a moment and give him a call, see if he actually answers the phone. So I give him a call. The first ring, he doesn't answer. My heart's palpitating. The second ring, I'm like, I got to call my sister right now. And just as I'm about to hang up, he answers the phone. He's like, hey, babe, what's up? And I'm like, hey, babe, what you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm at the bar, you know, we used to go to before you had the baby. And I'm like, oh, tell everybody I said what's up. And he's like, hey, the wifey said what's up. And I'm like, shit, I almost killed someone innocent.
This is my tattoo horror story. So this was for my 19th birthday, I believe. I really wanted like a tiny little crown tattoo on the back of my neck. I saw it on Pinterest and I was like, I need this tattoo. I need it right now. So I messaged my normal tattoo guy and he was already booked for like the next few days. And like I said, I wanted it right then and there, which was a very big mistake looking back at it. And it was a Sunday, so not many tattoo shops were even open in the first place, except for one. I wish I could just out this place. It is literally the most horrible place run by the most horrible people. But anyway, I go in. He told me that he could do it, but it has to be bigger because he can't do something that small. Which I've seen tattoo artists do tiny, tiny little tattoos, so that was the first red flag. But I was being impulsive and stubborn and I really wanted that tattoo right then and there, so I said okay. He put the stencil on me and it looked small, it looked good. After having him tattoo my neck for over an hour and a half, I started to get worried.
Y'all, please! I will never hang out with a white boy again. This white boy came to pick me up because, you know, I was trying to get that little diddly dick. And as soon as we get into the car, he's smiling at first and then he starts looking at me weird. I'm just like, okay, whatever. So we drive to his house. His mom is... I'm not gonna be able to get through this. His mom is there and she looks fucking terrified when she looks at me. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm probably the first bad bitch that he brought to this house. I'm sorry. So we go into his room. You know, we're just chilling, watching a movie, whatever. And then his mom pulls him out of the room. When he comes back, he asks me, do you need to go to the hospital? I'm like, no. Why the fuck would I need to go to the hospital? He looks at me. He's like, oh, me and my mom noticed that your scalp is peeling off. It was my fucking lace. My fucking lace friend. So I'm like, what? And I run into the bathroom and I'm looking in the mirror. I look in the mirror and I see a whole part of my lace is lifted up. Once I told him it was my hair, he got mad and called me a catfish. He made me Uber myself.
Story time of how I caught my grandma and my dad sleeping together. Yes, you heard me right. My dad was sleeping with my grandma. Sadly, I had to be the one to find this out and walk in on them doing the dirty, and it was probably the most traumatizing experience I've ever had. So basically, my dad told my mom that he had to start working late to get extra money, because at the time we weren't doing so good money-wise. So basically, a couple months go by, and my mom said he started acting really, really weird, and then asked me to keep an eye on him and see if he's, like, doing anything strange. So you know me, the best daughter in the world, kept an eye on him, and I didn't find much out. Until one day, after I came home from school, I got locked out of my house because I didn't have my key, and both of my parents were so called at work. So I told my mom, and she works an hour away, so she couldn't come get me. And so I just had a friend drop me off at my grandma's house. So I tried calling my grandma, but she didn't answer, so I decided I was just gonna go anyways. I go through the back door like I always do, and I wanted to sneak up on her and give her a hug. So I try to be as quiet as I can, and I walk in the room and see my grandma and my dad butt naked on the bed. I'm running out of time. Late for part 2. Part 2 of how I found out that my dad was sleeping with my grandma. So continuing on with the story, I walk in on my dad and my grandma butt naked sleeping with each other. And by sleeping, you guys know what I mean. Oh, did I forget to mention that that's also my dad's mom? So I caught my dad sleeping with his mom. Mind you, my grandma's like 55 and my dad is 32. I mean, I guess it's not that big of an age gap. So back to the story, my first reaction was to take out my phone and start filming it. And my dad and grandma did not like that. But I just kept filming. My exact words were, I need receipts. By this time, they're both under the blanket trying to get dressed. Without me seeing their wing-wings and hoo-has and titty-tas. At this moment, I was like, wait, I could be having the dream life right now. I could blackmail these two into anything at this moment. Then I was like, nah, I love my mom a little more than that. So I started thinking for a second about what I wanted to do. Then I book it out the house and send the videos to my mom. They did get a divorce. My dad lives with my grandma, and I do occasionally see him, but I live with my mom.